Hey guys, so obviously tonight is the first game of the NBA season, first two games of the season. It's about time. It means DraftKings NBA is back. Um, Early in the season can be tough. This first week and a half is going to be tough because new guys on new teams don't know how they're going to play. Guys are knocking the rust off, so just always interesting first couple of weeks. And then tonight is going to be particularly difficult because there's only two teams or four teams, two games. So everybody's roster is going to be extremely similar, and it's going to be tough to get separation from other teams. So all the difference between you winning and losing obviously can come down to a half a point any night. But the difference between you being, say, first, and if you're in a 20-man league, first and number 11 could be 2 points just because the teams are so similar. So that's going to make tonight a little tough. So I'm going to show you, since the first night of the season, how I usually go about making a roster. Obviously, the first thing you got to do is see who's playing. So tonight, there's two games. First game is Boston and Cleveland. Second game is Houston and Golden State. So then you figure out who's playing. Then you go over here, look at your injury report. Start at the top. You got Boston Celtics. Marcus Morris is out, so do not pick Marcus Morris, obviously. And you go down to Cleveland. LeBron is day-to-day. He's questionable, but he did participate in shoot-around this morning, so that's a good sign. Kevin Love is also questionable, so you will want to come back and keep an eye on that as the day progresses. The Warriors, Omri Caspi is questionable. Sean Livingston is probable. Iguodala is questionable. Kevin Durant did not play Friday, but he should be good to go today. Draymond Green did not go Friday and is questionable. Those, obviously, you want to keep up with that. And then I think I passed them. We're looking for the Houston Rockets. There they are. Chris Paul did not play Friday in the last preseason game, and he is questionable for tonight. So as the day progresses, we will get a lot more information on the injuries. So keep updated. Tonight the games are at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and then 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. So about 6 o'clock, we'll start hearing a bunch of injury news, and the lineups will lock. If I'm not wrong, the lineup should lock at 8 Eastern time. So that window between 7 and 8 Eastern time is when we really need to be locked in on injuries. So before we put in our final roster, because last second injuries that can kill your team. If some guy's hurt, you didn't see it till after lineups locked. So that you need to be careful with that. The next thing I do after I look at injuries is I come over here and look at what the over-unders are for the game. So tonight, obviously, there's just two. The first game, Boston and Cleveland, the over-under opened at 214. It's now down to 212.5. So fairly high-scoring game, obviously, between Boston and Cleveland. But then anytime Golden State is involved, especially against a team like Houston who does not like to play defense, that's going to be the higher over-under. So that opened at over-under 232. It is now down to 229.5. That's expected to be the higher scoring game. So usually tonight there's just two games, so it's not as important with only two games because you have a very limited amount of guys you can get with a small amount of money. But on a night like tomorrow, the over-unders are going to be big because you're really going to want to target guys with in games with high over-unders, and then even close lines, because what also could kill your team is, say you load up on Houston Golden State guys tonight, and Houston just isn't ready to play together, and Golden State blows the doors off of them, and all the starters are out by mid-third quarter, and that's going to kill your team tonight, especially with only one other game, because there's not enough guys left on your team to recover from that. So that's something big. So checking what Vegas has to say about the games is always important. And then after I've looked at those things, you have an idea of what you want to do. I come in this when you start building your team. So for me, I usually get shooting guards last because they, I mean, obviously, there it is. James Harden, Klay Thompson. Not as much Klay Thompson, but James Harden will get you a bunch of points. He was almost a point guard last year, so that's it's hard. He is technically a shooting guard, but he does not play like a shooting guard. But look at the price difference between Harden and Thompson. This just shows you the value difference in shooting guards, because if you throw Harden out and call him a point guard, there's not a great. I mean, that is good production. This is all based on last year's numbers, the 32.7 for Dwayne Wade and the 31.9 for Klay Thompson. But that's nothing like come over here and look at your point guards. Your top 4 were all in the 40s last year with Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, that was not on ESPN, but DraftKings says he's out. So he could return sometime in December. So, yeah, that would definitely mean Isaiah Thomas is out. But, yeah, so I usually get my shooting guards last. You need a good point guard, but I like to start with power forwards and centers first, just because they can score for you. They get rebounds. Your point guard scores and gets assists. Your center scores and gets rebounds. Your shooting guard can get assists, but usually they just score. That's why the production numbers are so much lower for shooting guards than for other positions. But yeah, obviously, if you start with power forward, if LeBron plays, he's obviously in play. Kevin Durant, Kevin Love, Draymond Green is questionable. Trevor Ariza, Jay Crowder. That's about as far down as I would go on guys to use tonight. But any of these guys in here are worth playing. And then if you go over to center real quick, Kevin Love, obviously, Draymond Green if he plays. Those are power forward centers. That's why they are listed as both. Al Horford, Clint Capella. These are the guys I would really look at for tonight, the top 4 centers. Maybe Tristan Thompson. He's coming off the bench now, but if you have to, Tristan Thompson. But I would go Clint Capella and up for center. For point guard, Steph Curry, obviously. Kyrie Irving, obviously. Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas. Because Isaiah Thomas is out, Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade will be bigger parts of the of the Cavs offense tonight. So with Isaiah being out, Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade become much more valuable, and with a price of $5,200 for Dwayne Wade and $5,000 for Derrick Rose, both of them, I think, should be in rosters tonight. Marcus Smart, he comes off the bench too. That's so I would not really play Marcus Smart until he proves anything to us. So really, for me, I'm going Derrick Rose up on options for point guards for tonight. And then if you've never played before, the guard position, you can fill with shooting guards or point guards. The forward position, power forwards, small forwards, a couple of guys like Kevin Love, Draymond that are considered power forwards and centers. And then your utility is just anybody. So again, when I'm building a lineup, I usually go power forward, center, point guard first. Then, depending on the night, like tonight is different because there's only 2 games. Then I go guard and forward, and then I go back to shooting guard, and then I go to utility. And almost always in this forward spot, with the exception of guys like a LeBron or Kevin Durant, well, even still, they're considered power forwards. With an exception of a guy like Gordon Hayward. When I'm when I'm doing this forward spot, I almost always get a power forward, just because a power forward is going to have more options for fantasy points than a small forward will once you factor in rebounds and scoring. So that's usually how I build my lineup. I'm planning on having videos all year, usually more on which guys I would target for the night, not how to build your lineup. But because this is the first night, that's why I did that. Good luck to everybody who plays tonight, and I hope you all win money, and I will have another video for you later in the week.